Imagine a small, lift-in, somewhat messy flat in southeast London. It is close to midnight. Silence, deafening and powerful, pulsates like a living organism around them. Neha sits still on the floor, right across from her boyfriend. The knife is in her hand and she is ready to slash her wrists any moment now. Welcome to No Ordinary Life. I am Ruchita Mishra, your forever obsessed with stories host. I wear many hats and one of them is that of an author. I have been writing books for a decade and a half. No wonder then that on this podcast we talk about real people and their real stories. Today my guest is Neha, and I know what you're thinking. How did Neha get to that point in her life? What is her story? What happened before? And most importantly, what happened after? So here is a bit about Neha's story. Some people are told no once. They fold inwards and just give up. Others, like my guest Neha today, heard no at every step and still carved out a life on her own terms. Her story is not of one massive Everest she has climbed, but one of facing an exhausting, continuous series of no's from life. As you hear Neha's story, imagine yourself as her to truly appreciate both the horrors she has faced and the strength she has showed. It is no ordinary story. It is no ordinary life. So let's dive in. Hello Neha, welcome to the podcast. So Neha, where does your story start? How old are you and which part of the world are you taking us to?
So my story starts when I was 5 and I grew up in New Delhi. I was born and brought up in New Delhi. And I mean, obviously the story started when I was born, but the actual thing that I would like to emphasize more is that I met with an accident and where a car drove over my foot. Partly my mistake because I crossed the road without knowing how to cross the road.
But you were 5.
I was 5.
Probably not your mistake.
No.
But just to give context to this, sometimes nobody follows the green man. We don't have that in a lot of parts of the country. So you were probably just crossing the road.
Yeah.
And
it was a service lane. So it was a very narrow, short lane. So I was just literally across my house. And the silliest reason ever, you know, when something's meant to happen, it's just like it's meant to happen one way or another. So I was just going across the road to dump a bit of cardboard, which has been there for like a long time. But I just picked it up and I was like, no, Mama, I'm going to dispose of that. And then while I was returning home, I did not see the car and it just ran over my foot. And the next thing I remember, I was in a car of the person who was driving. Funnily enough, he was a doctor. Okay. So I remember seeing my foot slashed.
Wow.
The skin was hanging, the blood was flowing. And next to me was my mum and my grandma. After looking at my foot, which was bleeding, I passed out. And the next thing I can remember now is I waking up in the hospital and being told that my dad went back to the site where the accident happened because some of the bones fell out. So he picked up all the bones.
You're kidding me.
He picked up all the bones, whatever he could find. He brought them back for the surgery. They did what they could, but unfortunately he couldn't find the 2 bones. So currently my foot, the toe, the big toe and the one next to it doesn't really have bones in the middle. It's too much, isn't it?
Yeah. No, it's fine. But I was just thinking, दो हड्डियां वहीं छूट गई हैं.
मिली नहीं उनको.
So they could not find the 2 bones.
No.
And you know, we are laughing about it, but obviously it's a traumatic thing to experience. So I'm just thinking about those 2 little bones lying somewhere on a service lane in Delhi.
Back in the days.
Yes, okay.
So then on, it was just, I think I went to a couple of surgeries, but the doctors And the technology back in the days was not as advanced. So unfortunately, or fortunately, either way, I was left with a foot which was disfigured. And there was a cast on my foot covering my leg. And I remember that obviously when you have cast, or or you've been plastered over, it's your movements are very restrictive. And in this case, I couldn't walk, I couldn't move without any help. So I remember that it had to be on my leg for a while. And I would call out to my mum in my bed from my bedroom, and she'd be in the kitchen or somewhere. She couldn't come to pick me up. I just couldn't bear it that, I've been left alone. So I would make my way down from the bed to the floor, and I would just crawl to where I wanted to go.
So this was when you were not supposed to be walking?
Yes.
So the doctors had said no, and you had said no, not no.
Not
I
no.
will walk.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't walk, but I would just
drag
literally...
yourself. You'd get from one place to another.
Yeah. So I was sitting on the floor, and I would just crawl. And then, back in the days, those plasters would have the white line, like really made out of white plaster. So it would leave a long streak of...
Oh, so wherever you went, there was a long streak, so everybody knew where you'd go.
where I went.
Okay.
But yeah, that's something that I remember. And then the next thing I remember, that my dad used to pick me up to take me to school to take my exams, because again, I was not able to walk at the moment.
So for
at that
how
time.
long were you not able to walk like this? For a few months or?
Few months for sure. I don't quite remember exactly. And then the next thing I remember is that it's my birthday and I'm in school, and we used to give sweets to everyone when we were kids in our classroom. So I was walking around the road, and I was limping, but I was walking, and I was giving sweets to everyone, even though the teacher said, "Oh, I'm happy to distribute it." I was like, no, I want to do it. And another thing that the doctor said, that I will never be able to wear heels or do a lot of walking, or I would be basically restricted, which I still feel I'm restricted. But since he said it, and I was only 5 or 6, and I was like, no, I'm going to wear heels.
Okay.
You can't stop me. And I wore heels, I danced. That's how we met.
Yeah.
So because I loved dancing. So since then, I feel like I've tried to ride a bike. I can walk. I can run. I can do everything. Maybe a little bit less than the normal. When I say normal, like people who don't
Fully
have
able,
this kind of disability.
Who are not missing 2 bones.
Yes. Who are not missing those 2 bones. Yes. So that's one thing. So I can do it, but people can't sometimes even tell that I have a disability.
And can I say that? So I met Neha first at a dance class a decade and a half ago, and you were one of the best dancers in our class. So clearly we couldn't tell that you are missing.
So making a joke.
Okay, we have to be serious. So you had that traumatic experience with your foot. So this was your first no, Neha, and I know from your story that very soon after this, you encountered another massive no in the guise of deep personal loss. So do you want to tell us a little bit about it? How old were you when this happened?
So I was 13, and my dad was struggling with cancer. He's had many homeopathy treatment, natural treatments. Nothing seemed to have worked. So it was few years that he was depleted out of his... he was just, let's say he was on bed rest. He couldn't do much. And there was an option for surgery, but because of the risks involved at the time, my family were against it, like my mom and my grandparents. So it didn't happen. And I saw him from being a big, muscly man to somebody who was just reduced to nothing. Like basically there's no life left in him. And so one day I left for school. He was sleeping, and he just like held my hand, looked at me, and I said bye. And I was at school, so around I think 11 or something, I was talking to a friend and she asked me to swear on my dad, you know, like that's what we used to do if to prove that we were not lying. And I did. And I was like, I said, no, I'm not going to swear on my dad because he's already ill. And I burst into tears. And I didn't know why. It's like it just came out of nowhere. And when the school finished, I walked home, and I walked home to him lying on the floor, and he was dead. And
What do you mean by him lying on the floor? Did you find him? Were you the person?
No. There were a lot of people around.
Okay.
Like everybody was gathered. I was not informed. They were just waiting for me to return home. Everyone was crying, and I saw him. And when they said that he passed away around 11, I was like, how did that happen? It's kind of like, something must have happened. Well, obviously, I was too young to even grasp that kind of connection. And then since then, I just knew in my head, now I'm going to have to be the one looking after myself and my mum, most especially my mum.
And that brings me to the next part of your life, where I think, sometimes when children have to parent a parent, the tragic thing that comes out of it is that they lose their childhood. So interesting that you're now talking about your mom, because that's what I wanted to touch on. How did losing your father change things for you? Because I know it created a lot of changes in your life.
It changed my
Everything.
life completely, 360 degrees. Because in India, as you know, that the culture is not very advanced, and at that time it was not advanced at all. It was I think 1990s, and my grandparents were very orthodox. The women never had any say in stuff, so it was always there's a patriarchal environment in our household. So when my dad passed away, we used to live separately. So then we were asked to move in with our grandparents, because my mum was homemaker. When we moved there, so it was more like they wanted to take control over me. My grandma would say, when I was your age, I used to cook for all of my siblings, and mind you, she had 10 siblings. And I'm like, okay, but then who's going to do my homework? Because I was studying. And the times were different. And so obviously she had no response, and I would not do it because she would be telling me to do it. And this thing was always in me. Don't tell me what to do. And obviously at that time I didn't know. And there were restrictions that you need to wear the traditional Indian clothes and have that scarf to hide your boobs just because, how dare you?
Yeah, how dare you have boobs?
Yes, exactly. And then the thing was like, if it's not our intention, it's your eyes, like the men's eyes, they need to have a bit of, kind of, how do you say, they need to mind their eyes instead of us hiding ourselves. So I never really got on with that kind of ideology.
And so your mom was a homemaker, so probably not earning, obviously. And I'm very aware, because we're both from India and lived in India during the same periods of time in our lives, that a girl child is less valued, or was less valued, probably in many places still is, than a male child. So I'm just imagining your mom with a daughter, not earning on her own, living with the in-laws. She's a prisoner there. So instead of her being able to protect you, she's surviving. So then you become the parent.
Yeah, that role happened. It happened gradually. I would not say immediately, because I was in my teens, and that time when I don't even remember being a teenager, to be honest, because
you lost your childhood.
I did.
Yeah,
I didn't realize that I did. And there were times like I stayed there for 3 years, and every time I would wake up, it would feel like that, oh, it's a dream, my dad's going to come back. Because my dad used to adore me. Even though he had his own faults, everyone does. For me, he was very, very important in my life. So they tried to control me. They tried to control my mum. My mum was never respected. And she did, I would say that, now I can say she may have been on a spectrum or have a bit of less of an IQ, less than average. But she was a very caring woman. She was, her way of expressing love was to feed you.
Oh.
Feed everyone. You've just finished your lunch and she's like, do you want something else to eat? And I would say, I was like, I am not a drum. You can't put things in it. So that I'm satisfied for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was her way of looking after or expressing love. But she suffered a lot in her life earlier on. But then when I was growing up, I would see her, how she was treated by my grandparents and how what kind of status or position she had in the family. And she didn't, in a way.
And how did that make you feel? What was going on?
Angry. When I would see that kind of thing happening, I would be angry and I would have tears streaming down my eyes because sometimes because you can't speak up to your elders. That's what we've been taught. So it was just like, why? Why are you treating her that way?
So as you're growing up, I can sense you're anyways born a rebel a little bit. And I can sense that the circumstances are making you angry.
Yeah.
And probably fueling your own inner strength.
Yeah.
And then, Neha, from what I know, you would then ask to move cities and go and live with your auntie.
Yeah.
And I've heard that story and it just doesn't make sense. What were you asked to do and what happened there?
So it was in a disguise of, oh, you know what, because me and my oldest brother, we never used to get along, and he used to also kind of trying to dominate the whole situation. What am I doing? I need, for example, I mean, if he hears this, he knows it, but for example, it's the weekend. What is a child required to do on a weekend? Early in the morning.
Relax, have fun, watch TV.
Maybe sleep in, have a lie-in, right?
Have a nice breakfast.
Yeah. I had to be up by 8. And I love sleeping. You can ask my husband now where I would rate the things in my life, the basic things. Sleep is here, food is here.
Okay.
Or actually, yeah, sleep, food, my kids, and
Okay.
my husband.
Sleep is very high up on the list.
Very high. And I have slept, I know I'm going off topic, but I have slept for 24 hours once in my life.
Okay.
So just to give you context. Anyway, so he'll be like, be up by 8. What for? Nothing. And I just had to be up by 8 and he would be still sleeping. So I would take some moments. I was like, oh, he's not aware. I will just go back to bed and fall asleep.
So basically he was trying to control your life.
Very
everything.
much. Similarly, there were expectations from a 13, 14-year-old child. And as if I was a grown-up, you need to be aware of it, apply your common sense. Those kind of derogatory statements or implying that I should just know everything already. Don't ask why. Why means, you want to create a fight. Just do what we say. And that never resonated with me. I was like, but why? Why can't I ask questions? Why do you have to have all the answers? But we're just required to do what you say just because you're older than me or just because you have a relationship that is to be, worshipped. Or, kind of like be very, very respectful. But in my opinion, respect has to be earned.
Yes, I agree with that. And was it because then your family, your extended family, and just to give some context, back in India, it's not just immediate family, but extended family, uncles and aunties and grandparents who play a very pivotal role in how your childhood shapes up. So were they then thinking that you need to be shipped out of the house? Is that what they were then trying to do, you think?
So my aunt, one of my aunt, she was a single mother and she used to live with us, but then she moved out to a place in Punjab called Jalandhar. And she wanted to, work and look after herself and her daughter. So I didn't realize it at the time, but there was this thing that my grandparents said. She must have suggested it, or they must have talked about it. Oh, how about we send Neha to Jalandhar? Because obviously here the atmosphere is not great.
And here meaning Delhi.
In Delhi, at home atmosphere is not great. She can, get away from my brother and have a better life. So here I was, sent away without my mum.
How old are you now?
I don't know how old I was. Maybe it was 2000, so maybe 15.
Okay.
Yeah. So 15 years old, right in the middle of teenage stupid
the angst
years.
of it. Yeah, I know.
And you know what? At the time, I didn't even know that there's a thing called teenage years. I didn't even know that. Like, people go through those puberty age. I was like, okay, there.
No, I didn't either. I was just studying.
I know. It's
Just
like,
studying.
just get on with it.
Yeah.
Whether you're confused or not doesn't matter.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares. There wasn't a thing. There isn't. I don't know if it's a thing now, but
It's a big thing now.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so I was sent away there, and those were really, like, I think the period in that time, I would not, if I could, I would never go there. But at the same time, when I went there and the things were tough, like, Jalandhar is a very small city.
Yeah.
Everyone knows everyone. So if you're doing something, you're going somewhere, people can just report back to your family.
So you had spies.
Not really, but like,
I know
I
exactly.
saw this girl with that boy, that kind of thing. Even though they're just classmates.
And was that now happening? Because were you, by this age, looking for attention from boys?
Yes, unknowingly, I was. I think I was looking for attention when I was in Delhi. I think as soon as
Because you were not getting the right kind of love and affection at home, so you were looking
I was
for
looking for a father figure, just to say, without knowing that I was. I just wanted somebody to love me because I think I did not feel loved. And without realizing, I think I started hating myself as well.
Why do you think you had started hating yourself?
Because I think I was always told that you are this, you're that. I would be labeled. Like, it really diminished my confidence. I'm usually a positive and confident person. That's my personality. So that obviously, if you keep telling a message to something over and over again,
You
or
start
just
believing
like,
it.
just like water, you tell the water you're bad, or the plant you're bad, it will.
And
It will just lose life.
Every time I speak to you, I think you have a fire in you, and I feel like
Yeah, I'm a Sagittarius.
and in that environment, that was very inconvenient for everybody. So the easier way out was to label you as whatever they might have called you, and easiest way is to send you out. And then when you hear them saying those things to you, you start thinking that you are those things, and then
Yeah, it has an impact on your
Of course it
subconscious
does.
mind. You don't know consciously. You consciously say, no, I'm confident. But the actions or the life that keeps reflecting back to you, it's not saying the
different.
same thing. It's completely different. The message is completely different.
did you then, after some time, begin to realize that you were in a glorified nanny position then?
Yeah.
Is that
I mean,
what
it was
happened?
kind of immediate because if she had to go out, then I am the one who's looking after her daughter. I didn't have a problem, but then I think it was just like in the disguise of like, oh, we're looking after you, but actually you're not looking after me. I'm not going to say they did not look after me. They did the best that they could at the time, but this is my perspective. It's nothing to do with them. It's my perspective. And the intentions might not have been what I'm thinking, but this is how it came across to me. And I was basically, my routine was home, school, home, tuition, home. There was no trust. I didn't really get along with my aunt at the time. Because again, like you said, I was fiery. I wanted my freedom, and my freedom was being
taken away from you?
yeah, like I've always loved my freedom. This is one thing that I hopefully won't have to compromise. And this is what, if you look back, if I go back to my life when I was 5, when I was like, no, I'm going to do it, it's just because I did not want to lose my freedom. I did not want to be dependent on anybody. Like taking me somewhere or being in a wheelchair or anything. I just wanted to be able to do what I can, look after myself.
And then, Neha, there was a very horrifying thing, actually, that was suggested to you at around the age of 19, 20, I think.
Yeah, 19.
19. And it just shocks me because we would have been 19 at the same time,
Yeah.
approximately. What was it? Where did it come from? And what was your reaction to it?
So by this time, I was back in Delhi
Okay.
in a way that I just ran away.
Okay,
Not
good for
not
you.
literally, but there was an occasion that we all had to be in Delhi, and I just never went back.
You'd had enough of the auntie.
Yes, and they didn't speak to me. My grandparents and my aunt, they did not speak to me. And it was because my oldest brother, because he was back in my life, and he kind of convinced me, oh, you need to stay here. We will, you can go to college here, etc. We will, you can. But essentially, he also wanted me to look after his kids.
Okay.
And when the time came, because I had just finished my 12th, and when the time came, it's like, okay, I need to pay the fees for the college, etc. We don't have any money. And I was like, how? What? Then my dad came into picture.
Dad?
My dad comes into picture, yes.
Yeah.
My mum said, oh, there was a fixed deposit that my dad did ages ago. We can break that.
And get your money to...
So that money sponsored me to go to college. And it wasn't a full-time
Okay.
college. It was a correspondence college where you just have to go for a few classes and you can take exams. So
you were doing this, and thanks to your dad, at least you're able to do this.
yes, because I knew in my head, I need to study. The reason that I stuck around in Jalandhar was also because there was a voice in my head. Everything is happening for a reason. It's okay. It will be fine. B, if I don't finish my school,
There is no future.
There's no future. I can't get anywhere. I need to finish my education. It was very important to me because my brothers did not finish their education. And I think after my granddad, I'm the first one who's done a lot of certifications, and I've studied a lot. Can come back to it later. So anyway, so in a way, my dad funded my education again. And by that time, it was like, I'd had enough with my brother telling me what to do. There were a lot of drama inside in our household. Grandparents not talking to us. The kitchen is locked. Me and my mum don't have access to food because they're not talking to us.
That's not nice. So essentially locking the kitchen off so that
Yeah.
you can't get food when you're hungry.
Yeah.
That's
So we
just
used to go
unkind.
for, there's a thing called langar. I don't know how to say
Yes.
it in...
So in Gurudwaras, they make food,
Yes.
and anybody can come in at any
Yeah.
point in time and eat that food.
Yeah.
So you would go there.
Yeah. And at that time, it was a very tough period. I think it lasted for a few weeks or maybe a month or so. But that time, my mum had also won kitty, like the money that people just pool together. And then
The ladies, back in India, it's really popular. So the ladies get together, they pool their money together, and then one person hosts everybody else. So they have the kitty money.
So they get the money. So that also saved, like we were able to get food, but not enough. So then I went to the doctor because I was very weak for the blood test.
You were weak because you were not being fed properly.
No. And it was
That's
it was a
ridiculous.
stressful situation. Like we were not talking to anybody because I had had enough. Even I told my brother, he's like, "What do you want?" I said, "I want freedom," because I suggested, "Oh, I can start working in a call center," because we were not being given any money, and it's not like I was money hungry, but you need money to survive,
Of course.
or to have a life. So
If you're going to the langar to eat food, that speaks volumes on its own, doesn't it?
yeah, I still loved it though.
The food is delicious. That's true. And I love that you're able to laugh about it. But I can imagine when it was happening, it wasn't.
No.
No.
It wasn't.
No.
It wasn't a laughable situation back then. But then when I said to my brother, oh, I want freedom. So then I think he said, you need to deserve it first.
And that makes me so angry. Like, I see red when I see that. Everybody deserves freedom. Everybody deserves respect. Irrespective of who you are or what you may have done, you deserve respect and freedom. And then
I was like, that's it. I'm not talking to you. And funnily enough, it was Independence Day. So I got my freedom. Like everything has some sort of like significance.
And then was it your auntie that suggested it was time that you should get married?
Yes.
And how old were you then?
19. And leading up to that, there's one piece of information. I basically kind of, when this was all happening, I know we want to kind of get to that level, but then there is a context to it that when no one was talking to us, they decided to have this whole big family meeting. My grandparents were there. My aunt, who I had left, was there. My other aunt and her husband were there. So it was like, oh, we need to talk to you and stuff. And because I also wanted to resolve it. You know, they weren't bad people. I think they did what they know was the best thing or the way to, you know, everyone can hold grudges. So anyway, I came in and I said, you know what, I apologize if I have hurt anybody in this process, but I want to start earning. But then my granddad said, oh, but call center, you know, you have to have night shift. I was like, well, you can give me this much money every month. I won't do a job. And obviously
They can't, yeah.
they didn't. So then my uncle said, you know what, I support you. Do the job. I know you wanted, because he was a self-made man and he could probably see the spirit. So anyway, I got a job very quickly, and 1 year in, I get a phone call. Oh, we found a guy for you. And I'm like, I just got my freedom. I'm not getting married. And I knew I was in tears on the phone while I was at work. And I was like, not doing it.
And it would be some random stranger that you do not know who you would be expected to get married to, isn't it?
Yeah, somebody in Punjab again. I was like, A, I'm not going to Punjab. B, I'm only 19.
You don't know him.
Yeah,
You
I
don't
don't
love
know
him.
him.
You have nothing to do with him.
No, it would be simple arranged marriage.
And also, again, another way to just control you.
Probably. Or actually, do you know, there's a reason behind why people, or back in the days, why they would get women married so quickly. Because you don't know yourself fully enough. You only get to know yourself when you're in your 30s or late 20s. And then they basically, when you don't even get to that stage, you already have responsibilities, and you just
Your life is
it's
dissolved
done. It's,
into nothing.
Yeah, it's pre-written for you. This is what you're meant to do. This is why, because they were afraid if women get empowered, it's not going to be good for the men. So that was one of the reasons. You know what? Just get it done. Anyway, so by that time, because we had resolved this. I had a good enough relationship with my grandparents. We built that kind of, you know, rapport with each other again. So my grandma was like, she's like, at least look at the picture. I was like, if I don't want to go to that village, why would I bother looking at the journey, like the map? I don't want to go there. I did not look at the picture. It was done.
And I think that was what fueled you figure out that you need to get out of
It was brewing.
Yes. So, Neha, tell me one thing. Were you escaping, or were you finding freedom, or was it a bit of both?
I don't know. At that time, I was just in the rut, going to work, office, coming home, night shifts, etc.
With the threat of a Punjabi man.
Yeah,
looming.
once that went, I was still working. No one came in my way. I had the freedom of money. You know, like my mum was happy. I was providing for her. I was not providing for anybody else. So I think that's when I started to gain respect. I earned respect. It was not just given to me. And they were like, even my grandma would be like, oh, come and sit with me and stuff like that.
So things were changing now.
Yes, they were changing because people could see that I'm a hardworking person. I've got the money. And you know what? In India, it's even here, everywhere, whoever's got the money, everyone wants to come to them.
That is how it works, unfortunately.
So so he put the idea in my head, and I told that aunt, the other one, I want to go. She was like, okay, but obviously needed money. So I found somehow within my work, there was a guy who just returned from London, and then he put me in touch with this consultant. He sorted everything. So I was either going to go to Australia or I was going to go to the UK. And everything got sorted. And my uncle, you know, you have to show funds in your account. My uncle gave me the money to show in my bank account for a while until the process was going on.
Did you feel like there was something in your destiny that was pulling you to London?
It was, I don't know about London, but there was something that just was like, I want to travel. I want to go. And honestly, I wasn't even thinking about that I'm leaving someone behind. It was just more like, I want to go. But yeah, I think it was more like I wanted to get away from everyone. And my aunt kind of thought that, yes, she could see You know, I think she had that kind of emotional intelligence and that kind of, she could resonate with me for some reason. I don't know why. And we always get,
Maybe she was a firecracker herself and she could see a bit of herself in you.
probably, or
I mean,
maybe
it's genetics. She could be similar to each other.
probably. So yeah, everything got done. My aunt sponsored me. I actually even thought that I'll take a loan and I'll pay it off. But no,
Didn't need to do that.
no. She paid for my course. And she supported me a lot. But when I came here, that's the next
Yes.
journey that starts.
Which is what I'm coming to next. So when you came here, Neha, there are two things to it. One is, of course, a completely different country. You don't know anybody. You're a young girl, alone. So Neha, the next little storm in your life that was kind of brewing, waiting for you, was in the form of a man.
hmm
So do you want to tell us a little bit about that relationship and how it happened?
That relationship. You know what? In a way, I think I came here for him as well.
Something
You
was
know,
pulling you.
Yeah, something was pulling me.
I get that feeling. You know, there's some relationships, even though they might end up being very toxic, are so powerful that it's like a gravitational pull, and they pull you
And I
in.
needed that man in my life.
Really?
I
Why?
needed that for
Why?
my spiritual growth. Without realizing, I needed that man. And I think I made a contract with him. I don't know if anyone believes in it, but before we come into this planet, we make a contract with the souls. And I'm pretty sure I had a contract with him. I met him a month after I had arrived in
Oh,
London.
really?
Yes. I found a job and he was the supervisor. He was one of
Okay.
the supervisors. My first day, I see him coming down the stairs and I'm like, oh my God.
Really?
Yes, I was smitten straight away.
And what was about what? And obviously, you must have started talking to him. What was it about him that drew you in?
I don't know. It was like his hair, his face, his innocence. He was just pretty to me. I don't know. You've met him.
I've seen. Do you know what? I'm just going back in my head. I met him very, very briefly at a Christmas fair. We went there together.
Oh yes, yes.
He was pretty. Yes, he was. He's a pretty boy.
He was a pretty boy. He was
Yeah.
a chocolatey boy for me.
But that's your type, Neha.
no.
No? Okay.
No.
Let's not go there. Okay.
No.
So you found him very, very attractive. And when
Very
you started
attractive.
speaking to him, you felt the pull become stronger and
Yeah,
stronger?
and I don't know, like I had a crush on him. I didn't even know him. We wouldn't talk outside of work, or he just had to train us. But eventually there was a point where we had a messaging service. It was a call center anyway, so it was messaging.
The number
service.
of romances that have grown out of messaging services. Goodness
know.
me.
So he messaged while I was at work, and he was at work, and I was like, okay.
So when
And-
his first message popped up, you were like, oh my God, he's messaging me.
Yeah, but it was just a subtle flirtations.
Okay.
I had no idea about him. And then he says, do you want to go out for a drink? And
Yes.
and then I saw his wedding ring
What?
on his finger. I don't know if you knew about that.
No.
Yeah, there were a lot of things that I didn't share with a lot of people. So I saw a wedding ring on his finger, which I never saw before. And then I asked, I was like, are you married? He says, yes.
Okay.
We still go out for drinks because it's just a drink and it's the first time. And we explore. Obviously, I found out then that he also reciprocated my feelings. He liked me. I didn't know about that. Because he was very good with keeping things to himself.
Okay.
And then it just carried on.
And he's married.
He's married at this time. And I had to go. Then I went to India for my brother's wedding. And there was nothing going on at that time. And there was a boy, because at that time I had a crush on him, but there was a boy back in India who I really, really loved.
Okay.
And another reason was that I wanted to show him, prove it to him that, you know what, I'm going to go away. Because we were really, really good friends. And he didn't know about my feelings. Or maybe he did, I don't know. And at that point when I came, I was like, okay, I'm going to tell him now that I have feelings for you. And then before I got there, he just says that he's met somebody.
Oh.
And I was like,
Oh, the heartbreak, Neha.
yeah. I got out of the car. I was crushed. I cried on.
Did you ever tell him then?
No.
No, you didn't.
No, I did tell him now. He knows. He's still my friend.
So then when you came back, having just found out that the person you loved at that point in time was not going to be yours ever, and you have this handsome...
It was a rebound.
It was a rebound, yeah.
Because I called him straight away after I found this out. And he was the one who told me to go tell him that this is what it is. And I just called him, and then we connected emotionally. I think he was looking for a way out. He was very messed up. I think he came from a dysfunctional family, which obviously I had no idea. I'm only 23. I'm looking at life in a...
And how old is he?
25. Okay. And I'm looking at life in a way, wow, you know, there's so much to do. It's fresh for me. It's new. It's just completely new. When I come back, he picks me up from the airport.
Wow, okay.
Takes me back to my new place. There was a lot of things were changing. And then that's when we kind of like... I didn't give a shit. Because he made it, sorry about the word, but he made it sound like he was in a very unhappy relationship. And he was, I think he was married for like, he got married very early. Who he was married to was older than him. And I think she was also like pressing him to have kids and stuff. And he didn't want to. So he wasn't really happy. And then he kind of would spend... days at my flat, and then eventually one day she found out, which was meant to happen. And I actually did say that if you're married, fine, you know what, you should go back if that's what it is, because it hadn't gone anywhere. But then selfishly I wanted somebody.
Of course you did.
So I made a mistake. So did he, I think, that I hurt somebody in the process. If I was in that situation now, if I was his wife at the time, I would be devastated. So was she. So, and we also found out when he had left her.
So let me go back a little bit. So he hadn't left her yet.
He kind of like the day she found out.
Yeah.
He got kicked out. And then he came, so he immediately like moved in with me, which was way too early.
Of course it was.
And I had no idea what was in the store, like what's going to happen to me now. And then a few days later, we found out she was pregnant.
Oh dear.
And I actually told him, I was like, you should go back. And he was torn between this. I think essentially he didn't want a child at the time. But then he felt ever so guilty, like he just carried that baggage with him.
And did you feel guilty as well?
Yes. But I think I'm going to have to admit, I did feel guilty, but at the same time, I wasn't there. I couldn't have imagined what being a mom means.
Yeah.
What is being a pregnant woman means. Like, I could not relate to it. So I think that woman was 30 at the time. So it's a big
it's a different
age gap.
And you were in a very different place in your life as well, right? Because
I was selfish. I was like, yeah, fine, if you really love me, then fine, you know, I'll stick with you and we can make it happen. And you know what, when we were talking about pulling, like the pull to come here, he told me that he had dreamt about me. We went to Gurdwara together. He loved,
which is a temple
there.
for the Sikh people.
Yeah. He loved going there. And then when at some point it seemed, he was like, oh, I dreamt about this thing. You were the one standing in my dream.
Okay.
And it was just like, you know, like that kind of love. Like,
so when you were in
blossoming.
it, you felt like there was a very strong connection. He was a soulmate, and that even if it meant whatever was happening between him and his wife, that was kind of justified because the two of you had such a powerful connection.
Yeah. So, it actually did feel like soulmates. We used to say to each other. But, you know, at that time I felt like soulmates are meant to be, it's all out of love. But soulmates are not just for love. Soulmates could be your friends as well. It could be your family
your
member.
dog as well sometimes, I think.
Yes, definitely. They come in your life
and
to make a difference.
But very quickly this started turning toxic, wasn't it?
Yes, very quickly started turning toxic. Actually, ever since he left his wife, he brought all the baggage and him. Like, I wanted to thrive. I wanted to like...
You were newly in love.
Yes, I was just like, let's do something. And then we broke up very quickly.
Okay.
He left me the way he left me was not very, I don't know,
Nice.
well, to say it mildly. And then I sulked over him, but I got over him in a week time, because it wasn't something at the time. It wasn't like I didn't have true feelings, perhaps. And then I think he blocked me on Facebook, and there was a thing back
Blocking
in the
on
days,
Facebook,
blocking
yeah.
Facebook.
That meant something.
Yes, yes. I was like, oh my God, this person has rejected me now.
Yeah.
I'm never going to be in their life anyway. So I went out once with a friend. We went to see London Eye, and that's when I was like, oh, you know what? Let me just do something. Let me do some exploring now that I've, this is what I should have done anyway, focused on it. So he must have seen the pictures, and he was like, oh, she's happy without me. He again returned.
That's very typical behavior, by the way. Now that we're older and wiser and we can see all of this.
Yeah. Okay.
So this is what started happening then. Breakup and
On
breaking
and
up,
off,
on and off.
And we were not compatible.
And this is very toxic. This becomes very toxic very quickly.
Because
then.
he was conditioning me, programming me, making me feel very relied on him. I'm never going to find someone like him. And
you were believing all of that.
Yes, because, I mean, there was a point when I woke up and I looked at him. We used to do a house share in one room. We didn't have even a space to go out, like a lounge area. And it's very restrictive to just be in each other's
face the whole time.
The whole time, yes, exactly. And I woke up and I was like, he doesn't have his life sorted. He's not driven. And that's something that I didn't resonate with. And another thing, that he used to drink. I never knew that he would drink so much that he's kind of... He reminded me of my dad, because my dad, part of the reason he died early was because he was a heavy drinker and he would smoke and whatever. So when I realized that he would do it, and he would lie to me about it, so I think it built up more and more. I think he felt so guilty about his life that he wanted to take his mind away by using those substances. That was against my values. Like, I can't be with somebody who's reliant on these things, because I've seen what happens. What happened to my mum.
And then very soon after this, we have you ready to take your own life.
Yeah. 4.5 years in, on and off.
And during this time, on and off.
On and off.
And did the
lots of crying.
other lady have the baby then?
Yeah. And so he would go visit her, which is fine. I was happy with it.
And the child as well.
Yes. And then I did say, can I be a part of it if we're going to do this anyway? He would not let me do that. I don't know, it was just kind of not very genuine stuff coming out. And he would just lie to me, to my face. And I'd be like... I knew that deep down it was not going anywhere, and I really wanted to just kind of be done with it. But, sometimes it's habits and all sorts of stuff.
It's very complicated, Neha, because you are so dependent on them, even though you think you can be without them. You when it comes to it, you're not able to separate yourself.
It's the mind. It's like, I was so, used to him telling me, looking after me or whatever, treating me the way he did. And because of him... I did have a fallout with my friends. Like, I was never able to be there for my friends. I was so stuck or blinkered in my love life that I did not give attention to my friends. I couldn't have a social circle.
And that's the time when I met you.
Yeah.
And I think that was very briefly I met you and Christian also. And I think that was my opinion, that you were very wrapped around him.
Yeah.
But also that you were aware, I could see, that this wasn't going anywhere.
Yeah, I think I knew it deep down. And then one day we come to this point after being in such a dysfunctional relationship, fights every day, crying every day.
I have one more question, Neha. So do you think that because this relationship was based on a lie,
Perhaps.
it would never thrive anyway?
Yeah, it could be, because if you lie once, then you have to lie multiple times, and you create a different persona.
And that isn't you.
No, I can't. For me, it's very, like, it has to be, the relationship has to be authentic.
And I think when, at that age, when it was okay for you that he was married and you were seeing him, I think that was just you, the core of you not crystallizing as yet. Like, it hadn't crystallized, because I think the you that you've become now would not approve of something like that at all.
No. I mean, for me, obviously, I'm nobody to approve or disapprove. It depends on people's lives, and you know, there are people who are not loyal, but it could be due to various reasons. We don't know. So I have stopped judging.
So what got you to that position, Neha, where you were ready to take your own life? What drove you to it?
Over the period of time, my confidence was gone. I felt like there was no life without him, that I really needed to hold on to him. And I think...
Was he threatening to leave?
Yeah.
Oh, so he was threatening to leave, and then the only way you could think of keeping him back was to threaten that if you leave, I'll kill myself.
Yeah, and also the fact that I had no idea at the time that I suffered from depression or anxiety, or you could say some sort of mental health problems. Even then I didn't know. So my brain has a tendency to take me to a very dark place where I think of such suicidal thoughts. It's not like I want to hurt myself, but I just don't want to be with the pain. I want the pain to go. And that's the only way I could think of doing.
So when you had that knife against your wrist, what happened after that?
So I was like, okay, I still had it, and I was very intentional, because I am very, like, if I say something, I mean it.
You have the fire.
Yes, so I'm like, no, because I'm so honest, it has to be authentic. Like, I'm not fibbing. Don't think I'm just fooling around, you know, showing you and just pretending. For me, it was serious. He sat there, and I'm like thinking, you know, sometimes you have a voice, and I've always had that voice, which pulls me. It's like, hey, something happens to you. He clearly doesn't care. What will happen to your mum back home? You know, because I would still send her money, etc. and everything. So what's going to happen to her? And if something does happen to you, how would they find out if something happened to you? And why am I doing it for him? It was again my mum, which brought me back. There was a time in India where I actually thought, oh my God, I'm just going to, you know, throw myself in alcohol and sex or whatever, just destroy my life. But then again, it was like, no, but then who's going to look after your mom? So she's like, it's kind of that voice that always had kind of...
Has pulled you back from the edge of disaster.
Yes, self-sabotage.
Self-sabotage. And then you did not kill yourself.
No, I didn't. And I just put the knife away, and I was like, I'm not talking to you anymore. Like, in my head, I stopped talking. And then I planned a trip. Luckily, some of the friends were planning trip. I went with them, came back. I was just leading my own life. We didn't really say we're not living with each other. I just led my own life, didn't care about him anymore. And then the day came when I came back from my first trip that we need to go our separate ways. Because even during that time, I would go to a Christmas party and I came home late, and he was like, where were you? I was like, none of your business.
One of the trademarks of toxic relationship is that it's very hard to walk away. So it took you 4.5 years of being in a toxic relationship to then walk away. But then it's very hard to then tell yourself that you deserve love or you're worthy of it.
Well, I think that was when I said, that's it. I think that's when I realized, maybe I didn't realize, but that was the point where I felt I don't love myself enough. Because I didn't love myself, that's why it's happening to me.
Correct.
Because I'm treating myself like shit. I'm letting this happen, and I'm not saying no to it. And he's doing it. So I'm allowing it.
So you realize that you need to love yourself so that you can then find love.
I think
if
that was where
you were going.
Yeah, that, you know, the on and off was basically my life was trying to tell me. The purpose was, it was like giving me a lesson. You're not learning it? Fine. We'll put him back in your life. You're still not learning it?
I read something like that. The problem does not go away till it has taught you what it was meant to teach you.
So that's why he was very important in my life. But without him, I would not have learned how to love myself. He was my tormentor in this human life, but he was my biggest teacher. Biggest teacher. I have no grudge against him. I have no hard feelings against him. I've moved on. You know, I wish him the best. We're not in touch since forever now. And don't really intend to be in touch. If I would ever come across or bump into him, it'd be actually okay.
Just listening to your story, I can see a journey from, and I, like I've said before, continuity is that you had fire in you all throughout. Whether that makes you walk when the doctors tell you that you can't walk, or that makes you go back to that person who you know is toxic. That also requires a certain amount of strength to do. But I can see your growth spiritually and emotionally from being somebody who's made mistakes to being somebody who can own those mistakes on a podcast and say, I made those mistakes, but the now me, the present me, would not make them.
No.
So I think that's very impressive. I like that very much. So then what happened? How did you meet
So
your...
do you want to listen to another story
Yes.
just before it happened?
Yeah.
I'll tell you. So it's interesting because everything ties up so nicely. You never, only if you look at it from a helicopter view, you know, it's like, oh, really? This
In
was meant to
retrospection,
happen.
all the dots connect.
Yes. So anyway, so that year I did, I basically tried to go, did more trips. I started fulfilling my dream of traveling. That's why I came here, essentially, I think. But then I was really happy. We separated our ways. I was happy. On the weekends, I was sad because
You were alone.
I was alone. Then that's when, reading books and meditating. I think that was my spiritual growth. So many things came my way. I learned from them and I was open to them. So then this big trip. Yes, you know what? I'm going to have a great time. 4 weeks of holiday, etc. It was not the best holiday
What
I would
happened?
ever say. September, my aunt calls me from Australia, the one that I used to live with. She moved to Australia around the same time when I moved to London. She calls me, it's like, oh, I found somebody for you.
Oh, again, you have a match. Oh, very good. Okay.
Because I realized I had broken up with this. I was like, I found someone. I was like, okay, they sent me the picture. I was like, no, I don't like it. Nothing to do with him. It's just I didn't feel attracted. Again, marry somebody who you think is right for me. So going back to India, that aunt was also there. And I think my other aunt also came into influence, and they both ganged up on me. At least talk to this guy, it's like, I don't want to. And then, I think they were like kind of trapping me. We'll say, talk to him, but then,
Something will happen and then one thing leads to the other.
So I spoke to him, I said, no. A better life, you'll sleep peacefully. I was like, I already do. I have my freedom. I already do. I don't need someone to look after me in that way, because my goal when I broke up with my ex was, I realized I just want to be happy. My goal is to be happy on my own, whether I get married or not. Happy, I don't want to rely on somebody for my happiness, because I had done it and I'm done. I started loving myself and I gave that love to people around me. And I think that's when the wheels were in motion and something good was coming my way. Somehow I escaped that whole thing.
Another marriage. Okay.
Somehow I escaped, came back to London, started Tindering, and
Did you meet him on Tinder?
No. I found few people, it's
Didn't
like
work
friend
out,
zones. No, I mean Tinder
how
at
did
that
you
time
meet?
was just.
So how did
I
you
did
meet?
meet him online,
Okay.
but another app, and we met. And I did not see myself, going anywhere with anybody at the time, online especially. So, yeah, we met, and I think what I liked about him was his eyes, very blue eyes. You've not met him.
No, I've not met him,
I
but
think
I've
you
seen
should
some
meet him.
pictures.
He's really nice.
Do you know, can I say something about the pictures that I've seen of you and your husband?
Yeah.
Because there is a happily ever after and you do get married. He looks very kind.
He's very kind. He's somebody I think I needed. Or we're two peas in a pod, but we're very different. We're very
Because
different.
I know what you mean. Your core values are similar and the
Yes.
wrapping is different.
Yes.
I know exactly what you mean.
We know when we came together, when I actually gave him a chance, because I was very scared. I just did not want to go down the road of having a heartbreak. And I was dealing with my issues because I would project my issues on him. Again, like I said, I had this mental condition which I was not aware of.
But when do you become aware of this? Around this time?
When I had my first child.
Oh my God. It's shocking, isn't it, how little we know of ourselves and how transformative it becomes when we do understand things about ourselves.
Yeah.
And so you were pushing your husband,
Yes.
him away.
Yeah,
Not because you did not want love, but because probably you felt somewhere that you didn't deserve love or you didn't.
You got that.
Yeah.
I did not deserve. I was like, I can't be with somebody like him. He's so good. But the reason I think that was kind of like I felt like he's a very quiet personality, and I'm a chatterbox. Only when I want to be. I also have. I'm a. How do you say? I'm an ambivert. So I was like, I'm going to be the one who doing all the talking. I can't do this. You know, it was very exhausting. And I said, and that by that time I was like, I was done mucking about. I wanted somebody serious, or otherwise just go away. So at one point something happened, came home. My roommate at the time was like, just give him a chance. And I was like, fine. I dropped. And I was like, fine, you know what? Let's go for, because we had a little bit of disengagement over the text. It's like, let's go. And then I poured my heart, not everything.
You told him the whole story.
Kind of, like where I am, etc. And then the way he embraced, no judgment, nothing. He didn't say anything. We just walked. I remember we were somewhere in West London. We just kept walking in circles around one block.
Because he was so absorbed in the story. I know. And that's always a sign of a great conversation.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the way he embraced, no judgment, and he's just like, I think he really liked me. And I was kind of like, why? I always wondered why. I think I wondered.
You know, I'll tell you why. Because by the time he met you, you'd gone through that cycle of doing stuff, figuring out what was wrong, correcting some of it, and spiritually growing.
Yeah.
And like you said, you were ready to find love. You were beginning to love yourself, and that's when you found him.
That's when he came, because I was like, no expectations. I'm not in a rush.
And that's what everybody says. When you're not looking for love, that's when it finds you.
And people say, but I have stopped. It's like,
no, mentally you've not stopped. You're still looking.
You're still looking.
I know. And so Neha, all of this has happened so much. You've seen death. You've seen people trying to get you married off to lots of
people,
different types of people with varying quantities of hair on their head.
Yeah.
You've been an outcast in your own family.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, not intentionally, maybe,
but
that's how I felt.
And your feelings are valid.
Yeah.
Valid.
I mean, I wouldn't say outcast is the right word. I would say I was basically everyone on this side and I'm on this side. Yep. So they wanted to include me, but in their way, and I did not want to conform to their ways.
So you've climbed many mountains. Some I wish you did not have to.
No, I'm proud. I'm
You're
happy
okay with it.
If I hadn't climbed any mountain missed would have meant I wouldn't be who I am right now.
Which was my question. What is peace for you? What is happiness for you? Are you in a happy place now?
I would say I'm in a happy place. Sometimes I wonder what next. I got
No
my
more
love
mountains.
life.
So you now have a husband. You have 2 beautiful children. And can I also say that I've seen some pictures of your in-laws, and I know the boys' parents often get very bad press, but I just think they look like such lovely people.
I got so lucky, Ruchita. I can't even imagine.
I can sense that just from the few pictures.
I just lucky in the sense I would consider my mum-in-law my friend. We have gone out for teas. She accepted me with, open arms. My father-in-law is someone I can relate to. They're just so great. Like the atmosphere, they're so open and out loud.
And I also feel that this is the first time in your life that you have a functional family around you.
And you know what? I didn't even know that I wanted a family. Because when I met Jacob, I think my whole goal since my dad passed away, or I don't know, since forever, I wanted a love life. I wanted somebody to love me. It took me 2 years. Actually, when I had my first child, only then I started trusting Jacob that he would not leave me. Every night I would ask him, are you going to leave me? Please don't leave me. He was like, why did you? Because I was so insecure and he knew it. And despite that, when I had my first fight with him, Ruchita, you know what? I was like, I'm going to go. He says, just sit down. There are 2 ways. Either you walk out and that's it, or you can sit and tell me what's going on and we can work on it. And I'm like, oh my God, this guy really wants to like sort me out or just be there. So he's my rock.
So you were trying to push him away.
Yeah,
but
I did my best.
You did your best.
My best.
But he waited patiently for you to start believing.
He just
in the
wouldn't
love.
let go. He was very stubborn.
So I'm very delighted that you got your Prince Charming. I am very happy that you got a family.
Yeah.
And you seem to thrive.
Yeah.
And I have to say that in all that you've narrated, you've been very honest, Neha. And what really strikes me is that you've not shied away from taking the blame where you think you should take the blame. And that shows a very high level of maturity and awareness. So I think your spirit, your soul is a very evolved soul, which is why I was very keen to get you on the podcast. And there's another thing I want to say to you. When I met you for the first time, that was when I remember we were in a queue to sign up for the dance class, and you were standing right in front of me. So you might not have seen me, but that's when I saw you first.
Okay.
And you had this peaches and cream complexion, black hair, really pretty. And I got a very strong feeling looking at you was that, A, you looked very fragile to me, which you probably would have been at that stage. But I imagined you surrounded by 4 or 5 really big, burly brothers who would be very protective of you. And I imagined that, you were chauffeur-driven to the class and chauffeur-driven back. And when I found your story in preparation for this podcast, that is when I realized for the first time that could not have been further from the truth.
Yeah.
So
People used to tell me that, I look a bit more full of myself just because of my facial expression. I don't know, there was a word that people used to say, arrogant. And when they would see me smile, they'd be like, oh no, I was wrong about you.
You're not arrogant. No.
It's like far from it.
Yeah,
One thing I want to say
Yeah.
is that all of this has happened, and I feel like everyone has a role to play. They've played it really well. And we're still playing our role. In your life, you're playing one in my life. My husband is still playing in my life, and we are surrounded by people. Without people who are not playing their role, I don't think we would be able to be here where we are. The person who set up this podcast room has played her role. So we are all little cogs in the wheel, big picture. We're all one. We're all connected. We're all one consciousness. But in this human life, we feel separated because of our mind. We give a lot of credit to our mind. And that's either it can take us places or it can take us to dark places. So it's more about being aware of where you are and look around. You're fine. All is well.
All is well. I think if there's one takeaway from this podcast, it has to be that all is well. And if it isn't well, it will be well.
Yes, it's not the end of the story.
It's not the end of the story.
Just like Shah Rukh Khan.
We have to get Shah Rukh Khan in there. This was no ordinary story, and this is no ordinary life. Thank you for coming on the podcast, Neha. And thank you, everybody, for watching.
You're very welcome. It was my pleasure.